Johnny, do you agree with Gavin Williamson's call for more defence spending?
I do agree with it, of course I do, but we have to be realistic about how we frame this debate. I think if we constantly look back, as we have done in those graphs, as to where defence spending was as a percentage of GDP, that is not overly helpful. If we look at what we're actually trying to do with defence, what does it mean as part of a multi-agency sort of operation around security and influence that we try and do as a country, if we frame it in that way, we can bring people with us and get people to understand you have to pay for a Tier 1 military. In defence, there is still a long way to go on reform. And the military, I think, has for a long time managed areas, sort of empires within that department, and not really gripped the reform that has been needed to fundamentally change what being in the military means. You go knocking on doors in Plymouth or London, then I'm afraid defence comes in at 9, 10 or 11 on people's priorities. And that is a result of, over the years, we haven't advocated for what defence is, what it's there for, why it's important, how it contributes to prosperity in communities like mine in Plymouth. And we're now sort of seeing the roots of that. We really are at such a crossroads now.
I know very well that on a list of choices, if people had to choose housing or health, they'd choose those over defence, right?
Of course, but you can't just sit back and say that's okay. You have to get out and advocate for what defence is about. Of course, you ask someone what the government is to anybody who lives in a street in this country, they'll talk to them about the hospital.
But you can't just make the case for it if you're talking about finding money. It's a real breakdown in discipline, isn't it?
On the street, the people who pay for us as politicians, what they're concerned about is how we're going to answer those questions. And
do you get embarrassed about cabinet colleagues talking about each other like this?
Look, in these situations, clearly, I think they are serious questions for serious people to make serious contributions to the conversation. And my concern is if we get wrapped around the axles of these personality politics, we are going to miss that point and undermine, really, really important questions that we have to answer in this country today.
Johnny Mercer, thank you. Thanks for coming in.